Good evening, everybody. System Shock here with a 32nd episode of our Librarian run for Cultist Simulator, playing as Ivan Vucetich, the detective. Now, I'm recording this a few hours before it's due to go live, so I hope that I have, on occasion, been caught by extended rendering times on YouTube. Obviously, the better way to avoid that is just to try and keep the video shorter. But I have actually had a shockingly busy week, both in terms of work and some of the stream side stuff that I want to do. So I know it's a bit of a pain to have to listen to some housekeeping stuff at the start, but I wasn't able to sort of sit down and properly chart out all of the expeditions I wanted to do. I actually kind of foolishly started with the capital, which sort of told me everything that I already know. But, you know, that's how I spent my time. So I've been thinking a little bit about this run through, and I figured I would let people know what my thoughts were and sort of keep it somewhat open to comment. So my view here is that I would kind of like to see this thing through to the end, right? The point of doing challenges is not just to, you know, always win and always kind of have a constant upward trajectory, but to try and adapt and work around with things. On the other hand, I also know that, at least for some people, the idea of sort of piling on a lot of expeditions where I may not necessarily have the skills to do it quickly, or to have to sort of redo a number of things, and particularly to have to try and upgrade certain types of lore to be able to get to the rarest locations, that might be sort of a bridge too far for some people. So the plan that I have right now, I'm going to assume that I'm not guaranteed any more books. I may be able to get a little bit more lore, but even then, that's a big if. I'm going to be able to fulfill the book thing. I may be able to get a little bit more lore, but I can't bank on it. And if so, I shouldn't be counting on getting these, being able to fulfill commissions, basically. So I've been saving Chiliarch's lesson for a while to be able to do the commission. Probably I should assume that's not going to be happening. And as a result, I should kind of expect that Spintra are going to be hard to find. Like again, I do see an ending to this, you know, one way or the other. So the division that I kind of figure that I can do here, the drawback is that if people aren't really interested in sort of the crafting and the expedition sides of things, you know, it makes it a little bit tedious. The upload, you know, even if it's 4 times a week, isn't quite as special as it might be if I was doing, you know, another apostle run or something like that. But I'm going to assume that some of this is just sort of nerves on my part in terms of, you know, whether or not any of my stuff is worth watching. And so that's one of the reasons why I don't want to completely abandon a run like this. And so the way that I figured I can try and divide it is to see if I can do side by side, for a while at least, the Book of Hours and the Book of Hours and the regular Cultist Simulator content. That is a very tall order for me. It's going to be one that it's going to take a lot out of me, and it's not necessarily something I'm going to be able to do for the long haul, but it's probably going to be something that I could at least do for a period of time to sort of give me some gas in the tank for running through this series, which may have some detractors and some enjoyers. But this is also one of these points where I definitely can understand people would be reluctant to be rude, and I appreciate that. So, you know, just kind of coming in on something that you don't like and saying, I don't want this, why are you doing this? I appreciate that people aren't doing that. But this is one of these cases where, as long as it's respectfully stated, you know, if you would prefer to see more Cultist Simulator content, but not necessarily this, or of course the alternative, if you'd like to see the ending of this challenge, this would not be a bad time to sort of speak up and sort of let me know how things are going. Like, obviously you can make an inference from view counts, but, you know, if I was just going by view counts, I would, you know, completely transform the way that I broadcast. There's obviously a certain type on YouTube that does quite well, and it's not really my thing. So that's kind of where I wanted to leave it. My plan right now is just I have some stuff that I can finish off in the Shires, and then we can move on to the continent. So I don't necessarily need to work out my plan for books, but what I suspect is going to happen is I'm going to need to rely a lot more on research to be able to move stuff up. So that's going to give me something to do with my study verb while I wait for other outcomes. But anyways, that's kind of the state of things. There's a new update for Book of Hours that came out, so I'm going to be able to record some stuff. Again, no promises in terms of when that's going to be made available, because obviously it would be good for me to get a few episodes ahead and then release those knowing what kind of time I have to get the stuff done, rather than, you know, scramble on and assume that I'm going to be able to manage everything. But we can deal with that later. You are here for Cultist Simulator. So, I've got 12 seconds before a rapscallion shows up, so I'm going to hold on to my inspector's position. Excuse me. I'm debating as to whether or not it's a good idea for me to go on another expedition. I think it makes as much sense as anything. So we've got Lockwood Fen. The reeking murk of the Fenlands is ripe with furtive life. Taciturn locals still watch the sacred places of the small and secret gods, the ones that answer prayers. So we will chuck a couple funds at it. And for start, we'll add Neville, but out in the Mudland somewhere, we are certain, is a shrine bedecked with precious oddments. If the locals try to kill us, we are probably heading in the right direction. So that tells me, you know, bring him off. In fact, we're going to leave Elizabeth aside. I don't think this is what the doctor ordered. I'll add Clovette, just so I can have a second person. I don't really have any reason to think that Hart will be in there, but there's a difference between a marsh and the ocean. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. The flipping cards came back. In last night's dream, I was in the Lodge of the Sage Knight behind the White Door. It is difficult to remember exactly how I came there, and the mistress of this place, the woman with the dark glasses, was nodding as if I had asked her a difficult question. Of course I hadn't. I lost my speech when I passed the White Door. How is it that I can speak, she said to me. I didn't come here through the White Door. I'm not proud of what I did to come here, so let me tell you about something else. There is actually a point where I'd like to do a video that goes into a little bit more detail about the relationships between these cards, but the drawback is that if I want to do regular gameplay, I kind of have to pick my battles in terms of what I follow up on, so there is hopefully some point where we'll unpack some of that dialogue. Oh, you know what? I think I was leaving the explore verb open to deal with the dread. Right, there are reports, troubling reports of this one. So it's not Rhaenyra. This is kind of a troublemaker that we can put away at any time we want, although I'm safe for now. My adversary has not enough evidence to bring a case against me, and they found no new clues, so that frees up Elizabeth. And treacherous ground. Oh, interesting. So forge or lantern. We'll add Dulcine. And while I'm at it, so I already have some erudition. Let's stick together a couple Forgotten Chronicles. Call upon the Madrigard who quells and quiets. We can do better than that. I should probably make notes again, but in this case I'm just going to crash ahead. Last night I visited the lodge of the Sage Knight. My hostess manifested as an elegant woman with fashionably short hair and dark glasses. No, she admits, I don't need them anymore, any more than I need eyes. Allow me my sentimentalities. But you've come here for knowledge, I expect. Here's a story I heard in my Karashim days. You are welcome to it. Only remember me if you come to make the pilgrimage. Okay, that's a welcome addition, because obviously I'm going to be drawing down on my Forgotten Chronicles for a bit. Now there is something that I can do to get past the Stag Door's riddle, but I'm reluctant to do it until I make one more move. We invoke the Madrigard, an hour of Forge as well as Winter. We'll make our own path, though success is almost certain. Sorry, we'll make our own path through. Success is almost certain. And unfortunately, we've got Night Terror, so I need to find some contentment within 30 seconds, or I need to... No, I think... So we're going to get hit by the... Well, no, hang on. There is one thing I can do here. It's a bit of a flyer, but... Optimism is a spice which saves. So this protects me from the investigation, which is nice. Although... I'm gonna get Leo working on that again. Save across treacherous ground. We're mud spattered and thorn scratched, but we made it through. There's that dread. So we definitely need to go to the Odisis Club afterwards. World goes away. Oh, you know what? I messed up. I need a glimmering. I'm going to try the Orchard of Lights. The sun in splendor, the hour who once ruled the Mansis, was known to walk in the orchard before his terrible division. Sometimes his remnants walk here still. Sometimes I see the chilly radiance of the Menascae through the trees, or the chillier radiance of the sun in rags. Were they to come upon me, it might be my end, but to see them in the distance is a gift of insight. Alright, so I didn't, obviously I didn't plan it through properly because erudition and the library are me doubling up the two inputs that I need, but in this case I got lucky with the results from the White Door. Glorious work. If I never touch another canvas, I will have earned my place in history. So... this mystique is what I was getting from Leo. I did wind up with a fascination, which is going to be a liability. Sorry, I just need a quick second here. It's a couple minutes before a deadline, but I think I should be okay. Okay. I'm trying to think whether or not I have... Yeah. That's something for me to think about later. Sorry, I lost my track because I got distracted looking at something here. Again, it's just the hour that I'm recording at that I wanted to make sure I had something in hand. Okay, so unfortunately, I didn't get any contentment from that. I am actually at some risk. So I think what I need to do here, I need to run out the timer on the inspector's position. That's to buy me some time with Dream. So I'm safe for now. My adversary has not enough evidence to bring a case against me, and I found no new clues. Look closer, closer still, closer. Keep looking closer. Close your eyes. So we'll work the... No, we won't work the evidence, we'll work the target. So basically I've bought myself a minute before I need to worry about Dread again. So this is a chance for us to try and get a contentment. And most importantly, what this is a chance for me to get a to open up the dream slot. So if I have to, I can use funds. Their bewilderment is our opportunity. We'll pass in silent secrecy. I've learned something that will earn me a favor once only. This will preserve you or a follower from imprisonment, but it can't be relied on. Last night, I dreamt of a blue silk pavilion overlooking the cloudy labyrinth of the Bounds. I listened to the mistress of this place speak of other visitors. The Suppression Bureau come here. Did you know that? I think they hope to recruit me as an ally, she snorts derisively, after what they tried to do to Christopher. But their folly is your fortune. I will tell you something that may help you if the Bureau ever troubles you. Alright, what am I doing? I just said I wanted to leave that open. That's the problem of getting into these habits. Alright. So I kind of annihilated the security that I just had there. But no point crying about it. Okay, Season of Sickness coming up. We're already using the study slot, so we don't have the option available there, but I will be able to use the Vitality, which gives me another reason to keep the Dream slot open. Treasures lie before us, so this will open up the Ecdysis Club, although if we're going to get a Despair that's going, or Dread that's going to come up in 7 seconds, well 30 seconds afterwards. Okay. I'm just going to leave that alone for a bit. The Ring-Used Shrine. Here, on a flat rock, inches above the marsh water, is a throne carved... The white door opens. The sun in splendor, the hour who once ruled the Mansis, was known to walk the orchard before his terrible division. Sometimes his remnants walk here still. Sometimes I see the chilly radiance of the men escape through the trees, or the chillier radiance of the sun in rags. Were they to come upon me, it might be my end, but to see them in the distance is a gift of insight. Okay. So I gotta leave that open. I'm not gonna follow up on the inspector's position until I have a little bit more security with my contentment. And I may need to use up the dream slot just because my vitality is gone in a few seconds. Anyways, the Ring-Used Shrine. Here on a flat rock, inches above the marsh water, is a throne carved of yew wood, ripe with fungus, ornamented with tarnished copper. This is the shrine we seek. Okay, apple green paint marks the ritual circles on the rocks. The remains of sacrifices past squelch beneath our feet as we search the shrine. In a little hollow in the throne rests an oiled bundle of treasures. So we have an icon of St. Agnes. We've got the Flayed Tantra, so new work, although whether or not we get another one is another question, because I don't actually know what happens with the Hebe Stanton now. Ring a doll. Okay, first things first, Ecdysis Club, even if it results in a bad reputation. In tonight's performance, Amethyst, a net-wielding hunter, pursues a veil-winged woman through a murmuring maze of leaf-clad dancers. Each movement is underwater slow. And we have another fascination to deal with. Alright. Blinking in the light, now I understand. And here is our forbidden epic. The attention of the hours is drawn to the bloodiest wars. Afterwards, the histories are braided like hair. Now, I should be able to just use my existing glimmering. This is a spice which saves. We don't have any evidence against us, so I will take Leo and continue to improve our reputation. There we go. The lights go down very gradually as the performance ends. There is no applause. We each drift into the street, alone with our dream. So, I'm not done yet, but we're not in the same... It's not the same kind of danger, so I am going to use the Forgotten Chronicle to explore before I go. So basically, I want to clear out the dread before we go to Guerin, and then we'll follow up with an expedition. And this is partly just so I can get more expeditions on the table and sort of bang them out reasonably quickly. Got lucky with the glimmering again. Now obviously my behavior with the inspector's position is going to change, particularly based on Seasons of Ambitions, but right now this is about preserving the playthrough from the things that could end it. So Dread is not quite the same threat as it used to be. And of course Rhaenyra isn't running around with her level 7 advancement, so I don't need to worry about the Season of Ambitions quite the same way, but I do still need to worry about locations being snapped up from under me, which is less of a threat than it used to be, but still one I want to take seriously. Okay, the Vanderschaft collection merits closer investigation. So one more trip to the Ecdysis Club. That's really our best chance for contentment, but looks like we have been interrupted. The performance had hardly begun when a moan of terror arises from the audience. So we'll give that another go in 30 seconds. The performance ends immediately. The lights come up. We are ushered from our seats and urged into the street. It's never clear what has happened, but the club staff seem prepared, as if this has happened before. Lights bloom in nearby windows, and passers-by gawp at the crowd of guests dispersing into the night. So, we head out to another Forgotten Chronicle. So Leo did a good job of clearing our name, and then I went and messed it up. My investigations turned up no new leads. So, well, I think we'll... well, no, hang on, because I basically have to... So I also need to make sure I have a reason available to deal with the temptation. The sick room grows close and stale. Time to get up. Let's go. And I think, I know I've been trying to clear my reputation, but maybe after we do the painting, I could try to do a masterpiece of Victor, my first cultist, because I have the Martin site paged, so. Sent to the pages, I cannot forget what I saw in the file on Ivan Vucetich. I am discipline. I am all discipline. I haven't lasted this long to give up so easily. And I need a glimmering before it expires. Can't believe it's been a half hour already. Not exactly, but I was surprised at the time. This is one thing, like, it's weird for me to broadcast this game. I realize this has less to do with what's going on in the game so much, but one wonderful feature of Cultist Simulator that comes up a lot in the reviews is how the time just zips by, and I have no idea if that comes across in the broadcasts or not. I know some people just like having something on in the background, which is kind of what I go for. But yeah, there's definitely been a couple of times where I look over at the time and I can't believe how quickly things have gone. Alright, the entrance is lost beneath soft drapes of crimson, cinnabar, and incardinine. Above the door, the club motto, Ingirum imus noc teet consumi mer igni. It has been rendered as, into the night circle we fly until the fire enjoys us. The backdrops for tonight's performances are painted with nightmare images out of Piranesi, vast, impossible subterranean prisons. The dancers are monster masked, sudden as fire, each movement snapping with wicked intent. So less progress on expeditions, but manageable. I recall my dream. This was the Lodge of Blue Silk, flapping in the winds of the bounds at the Mansus edge, and here was its mistress, who welcomed me as she welcomes all travelers. Company is nice, she confided, but I still miss my Christopher. 10 years. 10 years and not enough. But we could not have been long together, not without touching each other, and you know what occurs when a man long lies with a long woman. Or perhaps you don't. I hope you don't. I won't tell you just in case. I will give you a tiny gift. So we don't have anything to cure at the moment. We'll keep going to the white door. And I don't have the same... I don't have the same need to... I don't have the same need to use the to investigate the troublemaker. However, I do need to keep an eye out for fascination. The dancers pass beyond the backdrops, cross them, seem to move upon their staircases and drawbridges. Their bodies become smudged with backdrop paint. A growl arises from the audience. The walls of the house. Bound to happen. It's part of doing business. Now I understand. Sorry, I should have. Well, 13 seconds. We can wait. The temptation is past for now. So we'll see whether or not we need to send Yzabet out. I'll leave the talk verb open for that. Wounding consummation at the Ecdysis Club. Tonight the performers pass among the audience, juggling knives or bottles of red glass, bending to bestow whispers or other gifts. Oh, I wasn't paying attention and I didn't get... Oh, hang on. Yes, I did. So that's another forbidden epic. And again, I don't need to protect myself from anything nasty, so in this case we will do another run with the Forgotten Chronicles, although I do need to be careful because I still want to visit the continent. Technically true for both the real world and the game. A dancer pressed a red glass cup to my mouth. Its lip was sharp, my mouth is bleeding, but the wine within was a strong wine. Okay, so with that in mind, do I run for another location or do I go on the expedition? There's no... Well, okay, there is one small argument to find sites. If I am left to my own devices, I'm going to exhaust my Forgotten Chronicles. So there's a small worry in terms of what I find behind the white door, but we don't have the same threat from Dread. I think this may actually give a fascinating... Nope. Last night in the great pavilion above the grey sprawl of the Bounds, a woman who once called herself Teresa Gallmer sat on gilt-fringed cushions and offered me a horn cup of dream wine. The wine is imaginary, she explained, but the cup is not. To navigate the mansis, one must understand the distinction. Perhaps one day you'll join me on the pilgrimage, or I'll join you. So here, let us share a secret. And her breath tickled my ear. Okay, so, we'll work the inspector job because we don't have the same threat for despair. We've got, we're free with the white door as well. So the only question now is whether or not Hobson winds up making evidence. Alright, I'm certain that my adversary has lodged a copy of their notes elsewhere, with their solicitor, with their superior, or even with a contact in the press. This is troubling. So we're going to take Elizabeth with the tentative evidence. My scheme will most likely succeed. There's always a chance that something will go awry. And that's the time that we have. So I did want to just give a quick recap in terms of how I'm going to approach this. So number one, the first priority, as always, is to collect one of every book as part of the playthrough. If I have an indication that I'm going to get a duplicate, and it is like we have had at least one case of that. You know, I'll read it, or find a way to read it. But I have also translated some text, so some of the, how do I put it, lumpiness in terms of the way that the texts work. Like, they've definitely locked down on the ability to generate duplicates, and it seems quite clear that there are specifically things added to the game to stop it from allowing duplicates, but at least one is crept in, otherwise I wouldn't have the edge. So, with that in mind, the big challenges I'm going to have are finding the expeditions, because if I don't find the expeditions, I can't get the books. And then on top of that, making sure that with my somewhat limited pool of people to put on an expedition, I want to make sure that I have, I use them well, and particularly with things like curses. Like, if I can avoid a curse to get a particular text, I want to plan accordingly. The other thing that's kind of nice, though, is I did talk about wanting to do a video that, I don't know if I want to do lore videos, because again, some of the fun is sort of working it out for yourself. Then, of course, there's the question as to whether or not I have a proper, a proper read on it. But one thing that is kind of nice about this is it is giving me a little bit of fuel in terms of how I think I can have like a unique contribution to a video like that. I realize there's not a lot of lore videos for Cultist Simulator as it is. So one thing that is kind of nice is the process of working out the remaining steps of this challenge does actually help me for some of the other things that I want to do. But that is something we will deal with in the coming weeks. So thank you again for watching. I'm sorry this was a little more scattered, but sometimes you have tricky weeks. But I will be back with another set. And as always, feel free to leave your comments or undying praise. You can leave those below. But I hope you have a good weekend, and we will see you soon.